I suppose we've all wondered, if we could spend some time with a great person from the past, who would it be? For me, Lincoln, Ben Franklin, or Jesus. And if you're an artist, how about spending an hour with Picasso? Or if you're an architect, an hour with Frank Lloyd Wright? Well, as someone who's put more effort and more hope into the craft of songwriting than anything else, my hero and idol is master country songwriter Bobby Braddock. At some point, I realized that most of the country songs I had particularly liked and recorded were written or co-written, amazingly enough, by one guy, Bobby Braddock.
Would you catch a falling star before it crashes to the ground? Don't you know how people are? Nobody loves you when you're down. Big long Cadillac, but we'll have enough, that's true.
Now have something to brag about.
I'll have something to brag about. Something to brag about in you.
For anyone even vaguely familiar with country music, the list of Braddock's songs is unbelievable, as is the cleverness and heart in his lyrics.
Our D-I-V-O-R-C-E becomes final today. Our child is a daddy and a mother, living in a mansion and hating each other.
I'll never forget when I first heard his co-written song, He Stopped Lovin' Her Today, generally considered the best country song ever recorded, sung by George Jones. I was driving on a busy street in Los Angeles and had to pull over quickly to listen to this song, which had almost caused my heart to stop.
He stopped loving her today. It placed a wreath upon his door.
I was privileged to finally meet Braddock in Nashville recently to interview him about his song D-I-V-O-R-C-E as it relates to jingles, the subject of a documentary I'm doing. And I later picked up a copy of his new memoir, A Life on Nashville's Music Row, the subject of this review. Braddock is the only songwriter to have had #1 hits as a songwriter in each of the past 5 decades, an amazing accomplishment in itself. Now over 70, he came to Nashville as a young man with virtually no connections or prospects, but quickly got a job as a piano player for Marty Robbins, which of course led to further friendships and connections and eventually songwriting. His reflections on Marty Robbins, as well as countless other top singers and songwriters, are fascinating. But what's most interesting is his incredibly frank account of his romances, marriages, tragedies, and struggles. He and his wife lost their first child, and the marriage went downhill for years. But his enduring love for his next child and her adventures and accomplishments is somehow mesmerizing to read about. You don't get to be a top songwriter without being articulate, and Braddock's reflections and insights are as clearly and simply written as his songs. He is afflicted with a rare form of Tourette's and is a self-diagnosed obsessive-compulsive, and he kept a journal every day of his adult life, no matter how he was feeling at the end of the day, from which many of these incredible stories are taken. I thought I knew Braddock's catalog, but reading his book revealed scores of songs I didn't even know were his. He has simply never stopped. He discovered and produced hit artist Blake Shelton. And here's a recent hit written by Braddock, recorded by Toby Keith.
We talk about your friends and the places that you've been. We talk about your skin and the dimples on your chin, the polish on your toes and the run in your hole. But every once in a while, I want to talk about me, want to talk about I want to talk about #1. Oh my, me, my, what I think, what I like, what I know, what I want, what I see.
We all enjoy music, and it's good to be reminded that someone writes the songs, and Braddock has written an incredible number of them. Whether you're familiar with his music or not, this book is rich with some of the most honest, to-the-bone reflections on losing your parents, on aging, on temporary insanity and parenthood, on evolving from a hardcore Southerner and all that goes with it politically and culturally, on fame versus anonymity, on the general business of living that I've ever read. I honestly don't think most people would need to be country music fans nor familiar with Braddock's incredible catalog of work to be drawn in by this book as I was. Bobby Braddock, A Life on Nashville's Music Row, offers a portrait of a genius, though a humble one, not at all taken or impressed with himself.
We talk about your friends and the places that you've been. We talk about your skin and the dimples on your chin, the polish on your toes and the run in your hose, and God knows we're gonna talk about your clothes. You know talking about you makes me smile. But every once in a while, I wanna talk about me, wanna talk about I wanna talk about number one. Oh my, me, my, what I think, what I like, what I know.